Hello everyone and welcome back to another Deck Deep Dive. Today featuring the 4th motorisierte Schützendivision of the NVA. And we have had this division a while back. We have played this division a lot in early access and it got overshadowed a bit by the Polish. Though I still believe that this division has a bit more to offer than its Polish brother in the 4th mech of the Polish, which not just has a similar name, but is also pretty similar in layout. It has T-55s and so on, and it has the Honkarus recon units. But you have Fort Deploy here, and you have some couple of advantages that I will highlight when we get there. And I still believe this division is a pretty good one when you want to play some light, fast mech divisions. And we're gonna start as always in the logistics tab. And here we get the first nice thing, and that is 3 availability fast light armored CVs, and that has all the CVs that you need in this deck, so you don't need them to take them anywhere else. And we have 6 CVs here. That's a decent number. 2 supply units here. We have one big one that can help you out with artillery and stuff, or resupplying your helicopters, which can be pretty key in this deck as well. The helicopters are pretty good. And then one MTLB that's good for the infantry and resupplying tanks with ammunition and stuff. So yeah, MTLB plus T813 here has you covered. You don't have the biggest artillery spam or anything, so you don't need 3 supply cards here. And yeah, it just can go with this. Infantry tab is really strong in this deck. First, because Schützen are really good baseline infantry. They have 2 MGs. They have Resolute, meaning that they take less stress damage, meaning that in an infantry fight, they usually get stressed out after the enemy, which means their DPS stays high, which means they usually win the fight. They have the RPG 7VL, which is a perfect mix of solid penetration and good range. And with 675 meters, 18 pen on a baseline infantry, that's a fantastic rocket launcher. A big advantage over most of the NATO infantry. And yeah, just gives the Schützen some nice combat capabilities. And then you also got the BMP-1 with the Malyutka and Smoke. And yeah, the Malyutka is not a great ATGM, but it's just an ATGM. It can stress out the enemy, it can one-shot kill 2 armor units and deal good stress damage against other units out there. And it only costs you 30 points. The smoke can be helpful as well when it gets fired upon by enemy ATGMs and so on. So BMP-1 SP2 for 30 points, a pretty decent deal as well. And that's why we take both Schützen in those. So yeah, you have some IFVs, you have good infantry in them. Schützen SVD, even better as an anti-infantry unit, has an SVD on top, has 8 hit points, a really good firepower. The SPW70 is a solid transport as well. The Resolute not super important here, but the 2 frontal armor is nice on a fast transport that can come with decent firepower support. And yeah, this is your infantry squad for later in the game. Then you have the Pioneers for CQC combat with another SPW70, so some decent armored transport here. And then you have your forward deployment part of the deck, which is pretty good as well. Fallschirmjägers and Fallschirmjäger Medis, both key units for the opener in this deck. The Fallschirmjäger, only 1 MG, but they are special forces. They have shock, so, and the light machine gun means that they also can use it in CQC combat. So the shock really can matter for these guys getting into the fight. And the Fallschirmjäger Medis, same weapon loadout, but the Medis ATGM for 5 point more, which can be pretty helpful for openers killing off enemy light vehicles, as the Medis has good accuracy here with them and decent penetration to kill off enemy recon vehicles pretty reliably. And then we have 2 cards of ATGMs, one with forward deployment if you need a bit more extra range with Fallschirmjäger Fagot, and then we have another Conquerors here, Panzerabwehr Lenkrakete in an SPW70 that can come around as well. And then as a last unit, we have a really nice unit with the Sicherungs as well. Sicherungs, 40 points. You don't take them really for the frontline combat. They, just like the name says, are there to protect flanks, and with the security have extra optics for that job. And for 40 points, you get a unit that can give you extra optics on the sideline and can defend you against light vehicle raids, against infantry pushing them, like infantry pushing straight into them. They can fight off decently well, because thanks to the Resolute, they actually have a bit better capabilities than your usual 0-vet unit. And the SPW 60 PB can help out there with a bit of extra firepower as well. It's not as good as the SPW 70 for the same price. It has one less frontal armor, but it's still a decent little unit. So Sehirungs here still do their job pretty well. So Infantry tab, really a pretty nice one with a nice mix of mechanized, forward deploy, and motorized, and really getting the division going. Artillery tab, we're gonna stay light as well. Some smoke, and then some more 30mm artillery pieces that are there to take out enemy ATGM positions, to take out enemy AA positions, or stun them down. That's the job you want to do with them. That's why we take the long range one instead of the D30s. D30s can be nice as well if in spam situations, and they are a bit cheaper still, though this is not much more expensive and it has more range. You can use it from the rear with the better range and better accuracy. And yeah, just get around here. The Acacias here, the 152mm are pretty decent as well, but they're a bit more expensive. So yeah, just to save some money, the 130mm here does the job decently well as well. Then we have the tank tab, which is surprisingly capable as well. T55As at the moment, fantastic for the opener, fantastic to set up some pressure on the board. They can deal with enemy light armor pretty reliably. They can deal with anything pushing straight into them in close CQC pretty well. They can survive 1 or 2 hits usually with the 11 frontal armor, and they are pretty cheap as well, have decent HE output. So just having them come up, especially with the high veterancy, and help out with your push early on is pretty nice. And then the T55 AM2s and AM2Bs are pretty decent long range fire support, especially the AM2B with the long range Bastion ATGM. And that is one of the advantages that this has over 4th ZMAC, which doesn't have the Bastion. And the Bastion is a really, really important tool here, just giving you an advantage over enemy IVs, flying fast, one-shotting enemy IVs, and also being able to like just stun down enemy tanks before they can reach you. And then the Conquerors with the good stealth is a really nice unit as well. 2 kill of IVs to damage tanks, and getting 2 cards of these is a nice thing as well. And then the lack of Conquerors is often an issue for ZMAC. Having a decent amount of Conquerors here with the SPWs, with the Conquerors team, means that you actually can deal good damage to medium tanks with this deck quite reliably as well. So the SPW Conquerors here, pretty key as well. The good stealth, decent damage combo here is pretty important. Then we have the Recon tab, where we have good units as well. Special Forces Infantry that can help out with the whole infantry push. The Fallschirmjäger Einsatzgruppe and Sprengtaucher, both quite capable infantry units. And yeah, coming in with strong support. Double MG here. They have the law, which is not as good as the RPG, because yeah, using false flag here with the Americans, but being special forces for 60 points is pretty strong, and these here for 65 points with the smoke can be quite nice as well, in a blob that you can smoke off when the enemy brings a APC or IV around trying to suppress your infantry moving forward. The BRM-1K, fantastic to give recon to your tanks. Having one of these in your tank blob usually is really, really strong. And then the Me-2 just for the opener recon, really nice as well. Can be flying around with your helicopter blob that you can set up here as well. So Me-2 here, pretty key too. AA, you have all you need as well. You have your Coops, your Shilkas, and your Strellas, all doing their job just fine. Actually, Shilka, I think, should come at 1 vet. But yeah, Strela 2M as forward deploy AA, pretty key as well. As this allows you to get up there against helicopter divisions as well. that otherwise could shut down your portable opener. The Strela 2M is not the most reliable ATGM. It has pretty low range against helicopters, and its accuracy is not fantastic, so that's why I take it at 2-vet, so that at least the aim time and the accuracy go up a bit more, so that they somewhat reliable hit against helicopters and push them away. But yeah, without veterancy, these would struggle a bit more. So AA here for the Strela 2M is pretty important. Then helicopter, you get double availability Mi-24s, and that's always great. You get a good amount of cards of those. You get 3 cards here, AA, 2 AT variants, and then an Mi-24P, which is the one with the Cocon, as these only here come with Falanga P. Still good penetration on the Falanga, but they fly pretty slowly. Accuracy is also only mediocre. Cocon does hit harder, and as it has more range and flies fast, better accuracy as well. So if you need to snipe something from further away, the Cocon might be the better option here. As actually, I did pick the wrong one here. You want the one with 8 of those. As this one just has more rockets, but yeah, the Cocon is the more important part here. Because you have enough anti-infantry with your infantry, with T-55s being good anti-infantry support as well. And you have still enough rockets on the other helicopters here as well. You aren't in here for the HE damage really. You need something to deal with enemy IV spam, enemy medium tank spam. And that's where the Cocons come in pretty handily. And then we have an air tab where we have a decent fighter card with the Mi-24-9. And then we need more against enemy heavy tanks. That's why both the AT and the clusters here. And then just the MiG-21 bis here as a reliable HE spammer. You don't want to go into a big air fight with this deck. Like, these are all more situational units that you want to use when the enemy is coming for you. MiG-29 purely defensively. You have to deal with helicopters with your Shilkas and your Strelas. You don't want to rely on your MiG-29 for doing that, because you only have 2 here. So you usually only want to bring them out when the enemy is pushing into you with their air, or to protect your fighters, your bombers getting through, and when you are in cube range. And don't use them when they afford like attritional fights in the air. This is purely defensively. If you go with the MiG-23MF, which is a pretty decent fighter for its price point as well, and combine it with the MiG-29 and go for 5 fighters, then the situation can shift a bit around. But I feel like you need the other tabs more than a third slot here. You aren't an air spam deck. You can protect your helicopters with your ground-based AA and microing your helicopter altitude. So 1 card of MiG-29 usually is enough. It keeps enemy cheap bombers away and can kill them off reliably, and still do the job there, whilst you don't overinvest into air with this. So let's get to strengths and weaknesses of this deck. Strengths is a good forward deployment opener that you can then, secondly, support with a good combined arms, cheap combined arms. Like, the cheap combined arms part is pretty key. You get a mechanized force out there quite quickly. And then you have a good helicopter tab as well, which can assist you quite nicely from the early game with either helicopter opener, like the enemy always has to fear that you just open up with 3 helicopters and come for them with 3 armored helicopters, so they have to play around that as well. Weaknesses absolutely are a lack of high penetration. Like, nothing goes above the Conquerors. It's better than in 4th ZMAC, but still an issue. And your tanks only have 14 pennant guns. So against heavy tanks, you will need to be fast. Otherwise, once the enemy has 3-4 on the battlefield, you will struggle a lot of dealing with them. And yeah, that's one big weakness here. You also, lack a bit in, again, no BMP2s. Like, you lack a bit on high-end in general. Like, no high-end artillery, no high-end IFV. Like, the combined arms is cheap, but it doesn't go to the high level that other decks go to. Your AA, for example, is all mid-tier as well. Coop is good, you have long range, but It's not as good as a Book. Shilka is not as good as a Behusa and so on. So all is just one level below the top. You have nothing on top level. Your infantry, maybe, but outside of that, like nothing is the highest quality of units. And those things really can backfire when the game goes into a late game. But until then, your cheap combined arms can really push you through. And that's where fourth Motto really comes in. And yeah, I really still enjoy this. It was one of my most played decks when we had them in coming out in early access, and I still always enjoy when I get back to playing them. There are just so many decks to play nowadays that I don't focus as much on them anymore. But yeah, it's a fantastic little deck, and if you like to be the one in the driver's seat at the beginning of the game, that this is a fantastic deck for you, getting you into the combined arms gameplay whilst also allowing you to get everything out quite early on and set up pressure onto the enemy. So yeah, let me know down below what you think about the fourth Motto at the moment, what you maybe would change, and see you on the next one, guys. Bye bye, and have a great day.